How to fix Valorant VAN9003 error. Secure boot enabled in BIOS, but disabled in MSInfo32. Restore factory key. Welcome back to Teknobalta. Today, we delve into a critical issue plaguing many Valorant players on Windows 11, the notorious VAN9003 error. This error typically surfaces when the game's stringent security protocols, particularly its reliance on Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 for anti-cheat integrity, detect a discrepancy in your system's configuration. The core problem often manifests as Secure Boot appearing enabled within your system's BIOS/UEFI firmware, but inexplicably reported as disabled in the Windows System Information Tool, MSInfo32, thereby preventing Valorant from launching. This guide will provide a comprehensive, deep dive into resolving this paradox, with a focus on restoring your system's secure boot functionality to its intended state, especially highlighting the critical step of restoring factory keys. Let's begin troubleshooting this pervasive issue. Understanding the VAN9003 error. The Valorant VAN9003 error indicates that your system does not meet the necessary security requirements for the game's anti-cheat system, Vanguard, to operate securely. Specifically, it points to issues with either Trusted Platform Module, TPM 2.0, or Secure Boot, both crucial for maintaining system integrity on modern Windows 11 installations. This error is designed to prevent cheating by ensuring the operating environment is trustworthy and untampered. Verify TPM 2.0 and Secure Boot status via MSInfo32. Begin by confirming the reported status of Secure Boot and TPM 2.0 from within Windows itself. Press Win+R, type MSInfo32, and hit Enter to open system information. Locate Secure Boot state and TPM version to see if Windows acknowledges them as on and 2.0 respectively. This diagnostic step is crucial for identifying the discrepancy. Access your system's BIOS/UEFI firmware. To make any changes, you must enter your system's BIOS/UEFI settings during startup. Restart your computer and repeatedly press the designated key, often F2, Dell, F10, or F12 for Asus ROG Strix laptops, immediately after powering on. The exact key varies by manufacturer and model, so consult your motherboard manual if unsure. Enable Trusted Platform Module, TPM 2.0. Within the BIOS, navigate to the Security or Advanced tab to locate TPM settings, which might be labeled Trusted Platform Module, Intel Platform Trust Technology, PTT, or AMD FTPM. Ensure this option is enabled, as TPM 2.0 is a fundamental requirement for Windows 11 and Secure Boot. Without it, Secure Boot often cannot be fully activated. Confirm UEFI boot mode is active. Secure Boot is an exclusive feature of UEFI firmware and will not function in legacy BIOS mode. Within your BIOS, typically under the Boot or Advanced section, verify that your boot mode is set to UEFI and not Legacy or CSM. If your Windows installation was done in legacy mode, you might need to convert your drive to GPT and reinstall Windows 11 in UEFI mode. Disable Compatibility Support Module, CSM. Often intertwined with UEFI settings, the Compatibility Support Module, CSM, allows UEFI systems to boot older operating systems or hardware that rely on legacy BIOS. Disabling CSM is frequently a prerequisite for fully enabling Secure Boot and ensuring the system operates purely in UEFI mode. Look for this option under the Boot or Advanced menus in your BIOS. Locate and enable Secure Boot in BIOS. Navigate to the Boot or Security section within your BIOS/UEFI utility. Here, you should find the Secure Boot option. Set its status to Enabled. Note that some systems might require a password or an additional step to unlock these advanced security features. Save BIOS changes and reboot system. After making any adjustments within the BIOS, it is imperative to save your changes before exiting. Typically, this involves selecting Save and Exit, often mapped to the F10 key. Your system will then reboot, attempting to initialize with the newly configured settings. Re-verify Secure Boot in MSInfo32, post-BIOS change. Once Windows has fully loaded, repeat the MSInfo32 check to determine if the Secure Boot state now displays on. If it still shows off despite being enabled in BIOS, this indicates the persistent discrepancy that triggers the VAN9003 error and points towards a key management issue. Reset BIOS to default settings and reconfigure. If enabling Secure Boot directly does not resolve the MSInfo32 discrepancy, a common troubleshooting step is to reset your BIOS settings to their factory defaults. Many BIOS interfaces offer an option like F9 for Load Optimized Defaults. After loading defaults, save and exit, then immediately re-enter BIOS to re-enable TPM 2.0, UEFI mode, disable CSM, and finally enable Secure Boot as per previous steps. The critical fix: restore factory Secure Boot keys. This is the solution that often resolves the specific BIOS-enabled, MSInfo32 disabled paradox. Within the Secure Boot section of your BIOS, look for a submenu labeled Key Management, Secure Boot Mode, or similar options related to security keys. Here, locate and select the option to restore factory keys or install default Secure Boot keys. This action reestablishes the legitimate Microsoft and manufacturer public keys, which are essential for Secure Boot's proper operation and validation by the OS. Confirm key restoration and reboot. After initiating the Restore Factory Keys process, the BIOS will typically prompt for confirmation. Proceed with the restoration, then remember to save your BIOS changes and exit, allowing your system to reboot. This step is often overlooked, but proves vital in synchronizing the Secure Boot state between firmware and operating system. Update BIOS/UEFI firmware to latest version. An outdated BIOS can sometimes lead to compatibility issues with Windows 11 and its security features. Visit your motherboard manufacturer's website, e.g., ASUS for ROG Strix G16, and download the latest UEFI firmware update for your specific model. Follow the manufacturer's instructions carefully for the update process, which often involves placing the firmware file on a USB drive and flashing it from within the BIOS. Run Valorant and Riot Client as administrator. Basic but often effective, ensure both the Valorant game executable and the Riot Client Services executable are run with administrative privileges. Right-click on their shortcuts or .exe files, select Properties, navigate to the Compatibility tab, and check Run this program as an administrator. This bypasses potential permission conflicts. Configure RiotClientServices.exe for Windows 8 compatibility. Some users have reported success by running the Riot Client Services executable in Windows 8 compatibility mode, particularly on Windows 11. Navigate to the installation path, typically c://riotgames/riotclient/riotclientservices.exe. Right-click the file, select Properties, go to the Compatibility tab and choose Windows 8 from the Compatibility Mode drop-down. This can sometimes resolve unexpected launch issues. Verify Windows 11 installation integrity. Given that the system was originally FreeDOS and Windows 11 was a custom installation, there's a slight possibility of underlying OS corruption or improper configuration. Use the system file checker by opening Command Prompt as administrator and running sfc/scannow. Additionally, consider running dism/online/cleanupimage/restore health to repair any system image issues. Perform a clean reinstallation of Valorant. A corrupted game installation can sometimes cause unexpected errors, even those seemingly related to system security. Completely uninstall Valorant and the Riot client, including deleting any leftover game files in C:\riot games and C:\program data/Riot games. Then, download the latest installer from the official Valorant website and perform a fresh installation. Temporarily disable Antivirus/Firewall. While not a permanent solution, temporarily disabling your third-party antivirus software or Windows Defender firewall can help rule out these security programs as culprits interfering with Vanguard's operation. Remember to re-enable them after testing to maintain system security. If it resolves the issue, add exceptions for Valorant and Riot Client. Perform a clean boot of Windows. A clean boot starts Windows with a minimal set of drivers and startup programs, helping to isolate software conflicts that might interfere with Secure Boot or Vanguard. Press Win+R, type config, and go to the Services tab. Check Hide All Microsoft Services, then click Disable All. On the Startup tab, open Task Manager and disable all startup items. Reboot and test Valorant. Submit a support ticket to Riot Games. If, after exhaustively trying these solutions, the VAN9003 error persists, gather all relevant diagnostic information, including screenshots of MSInfo32 and your BIOS secure boot settings, and submit a detailed support ticket to Riot Games. Their technical support team can offer more specific guidance and insights based on your unique system configuration and logs. Consider a clean reinstallation of Windows 11. As a last resort, especially given the history of a FreeDOS system receiving a custom Windows 11 installation, a complete clean reinstallation of Windows 11 might be necessary. This ensures all system components and security features are properly configured from scratch. Ensure you back up all your important data before proceeding with this drastic step. By systematically working through these deep dive troubleshooting steps, particularly focusing on the crucial Restore Factory Keys solution within Secure Boot Key Management, you should be able to synchronize your system's secure boot state and conquer the Valorant VAN9003 error. Don't forget to follow Teknobalta for more in-depth technical guides and solutions.